Tuesday night, it's my fight show. I'm Mika Frankel. We are live YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, across the Cage Minds social media. Cage Minds underscore CSN is how you keep up with us across a multitude of social medias. The YouTube, the Facebook, it's Cage Minds, Combat, Sports News. Last week, an absolutely freaking massive show we did ahead of Christmas. Hope you guys all had a wonderful holiday. Can't thank everybody enough for last week. And wouldn't you know it, a bit of a Christmas hangover, we'll call it, as booking this week. I'm not going to name names, but I done tried a lot of things. And this week, we will have unbeaten boxing prospect Yoruba Morue Jr. joining us live. I say live because I think I figured out how to do my first pre-tapes in plural. Nico Tapia, Johnny Tapia Jr., both going to be joining us here, My Fight Show, January 9th, both making their pro debuts. Borke Brawl, coincidentally, the same card Yoruba Morue Jr. is going to be on. And a little bit ago, we threw out a little effort to Cody East, also going to be part of the card. Want to see if he is available this evening to jump on, talk a little bit about his return to gloved boxing. We know that Cody had been highly active BKB, MMA, and boxing last year. Borke Brawl, Canasas nightclub, a VIP event that's way up East Central here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I cannot believe it. You're going to see John McDessie versus Felipe Flip Chavez on the card. That is, man, such a highlight for me. That one is going to be an absolute banger. Nico Tapia takes on Ace the One, and Johnny Tapia Jr. is getting Swayed the Plug God. These are influencer fights. We got our first local fight night of the year scheduled for January 9th. All these guys were originally expected to fight April 12th, long time ago. Remember that event that we were hoping to get, the influencer crossover series at the pit? So a long time coming for the Tapia brothers. Here a little bit later tonight, we will play those interviews. Tomorrow, Pro Wrestling After Hours will be up here on the website. We recap World's End. John Moxley absolutely own the night this weekend. There's Wrestle Kingdom 20. Tanahashi retires. He's facing Okada for one last time, and Takesha takes on Tsuji. You get a unification bout, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yes, we talk about pro wrestling every so often here. Jump on over to Pro Wrestling After Hours. We'll have that available, cageminds.com. Tomorrow, talking about all that good stuff to take a trip around just the sports and entertainment world even more vastly with me. We do that every Saturday. Mike Adams 2.0. That's ESPN Radio, Albuquerque 1017, The Team. Definitely check that out. Got a shout out to the beard is looking good today, and we're looking good because of Barbers Are Us, the Beard Balm. It's available at barbergabesfades.net. That's where you go to book your haircut. They're at 100 Coors Boulevard, Lobo Plaza, Suite 107 here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The shop with the old school heart, the new school innovation. Book online. Walk-ins are also welcome, but you don't want to wait around forever. Even though there was no UFC this past weekend, that doesn't mean we were fully void of MMA action. There was MMA action. Of course, there was MMA action. The O2 in the Czech Republic hosted Octagon 81, and in a stunning upset in the main event, Wolf Array, the Irishman, journeyman, A Cage Warriors and Bellator vet pulls off a stunning upset, a first round knockout victory to retain one of his two world titles, the light heavyweight and heavyweight champion of Octagon. Takes down Martin Bunde. Bunde 7-1 in the UFC before the promotion decided to not re-sign him, and he has stopped in 1 minute and 40 seconds. A caught kick, a big left hand. Bunde gets stuck on the fence. Flurry opens up its speed over power. It's mixing up levels. It's attacking at multiple points. Hooks, leg kicks going to the body. All of a sudden, Bunde crumbles, the ground and pound, and Ferre into the winner's circle. Stunning upset. You also had Zumaglalov, who also had a cup of coffee in the UFC. Really nothing spectacular. But since leaving the promotion and having to find himself, he has done just that. It's a 5th win in a row. It's a 3rd round doctor stoppage of David Dvorak, putting his first defense on the board of that Octagon flyweight title. A huge victory. My Fight Show, we are live most Tuesday nights across the Cage Minds social media. Transition to another promotion that's been making a lot of waves recently, Real American Freestyle Wrestling. You can watch that on the Fox Nation app. They have just been keeping busy every UFC talent that Dana White has not had the ability to. That includes the announcement that Armin Saryukian will be putting on the singlet. He's going to be taking on Lance Palmer. That's going to be happening here in January at RAF5, and RAF6 has been announced for Tempe, Arizona, because Henry Cejudo has signed with the promotion and is going to be returning to his wrestling ways. The Olympic gold medalist, the 2-division UFC champion, absolutely massive name. You already think that Yoel Romero, Colby Covington, Luke Rockhold, Bilal Muhammad, Joaquin Buckley, Holly Holm, the amount of UFC star-studded that have donned the singlet and have taken to the mat has validated this promotion in a huge way that I don't know if people saw coming. You knew that this was going to be a Real Woods, a Jordan Oliver, Steve Mocco coming back out of retirement. We knew that true wrestlers were going to have a huge opportunity and we're going to make full advantage of this platform. But what's interesting is the way that Eric Bischoff and company have communicated to the UFC that this won't hurt their business, while enhancing their own business and really able to piggyback off that stardom, off the star power, and get a built-in fan base. Nothing bad about what they're doing. It's really shrewd and I just say a little bit unexpected, but hey, I kind of like it. You're getting those UFC fighters to stay active. They love to box, wrestle, grapple. It is first and foremost any kind of competitive avenue to stay active, to stay sharp, to stay fierce, to earn some money is intriguing to a UFC fighter. So the signing of Henry Cejudo, just another one in the many that makes you think the Real American Freestyle is attacking, cultivating an audience in a proper manner. I mentioned UFC talents. Well, the UFC, they've always found unique ways and avenues of bringing in new talents. Back at International Fight Week this past year, I got to do one of the more unique interviews that I've done in that setting, primarily because most of the athletes that you're going to talk to when you're at International Fight Week are already signed to the UFC. This past year, though, there was this massive figure that I was offered the opportunity to talk with. Took it right away. Not many media members were gushing with excitement in the fashion that I was when I saw the Glory Heavyweight Champion, Rico Verhoeven. If you're not familiar with the name, you may become so very quickly. Derek Lewis made news last week by telling everyone on a podcast he was offered a fight at UFC 324. That would be January 24th. That would be the very first event on Paramount with Rico Verhoeven. Rico turned that one down, but it now looks like within days of that story coming to light, rumors are rampant that the undeniable king of glory kickboxing, who run ruckshot over a division, over a company, over a sport for well over a decade, is now a part of the UFC roster. One of my mantras all through last year on MMA After Hours. Yes, check that out right here on cageminds.com. Anywhere you get your audio podcast, Apple, Spotify, iHeart. We're on all kinds of places. Our mantra all year was we need more light heavyweights. We need more heavyweights. You see a Wolf Array moving up over in the Czech Republic to go up and take on the heavyweight division. He's even now, his speed is a decisive factor against a Martin Bunde. There's been a lot of big clubbing, not visually appealing, not ultra athletic looking heavyweights. It looks like this gives an opportunity for light heavyweights to really make a name in the division. This also just opens up the division to think in that sense of Alex Pereira. How much grappling, how much anti-wrestling did you need to fully make your MMA game come to life? Well, one of those things that came to life would obviously be your adequate striking. And Rico Verhoeven is more than adequate. He has had different kind of structures to his career. He's been a tactician. He's been a distance fighter. He has made you go into long rounds. He has dissected people. He has also just generated vicious knockouts. We're talking about championship pedigree, carrying a company, carrying a card, one of the biggest fighters in the Netherlands, talking about from a persona, from a marketing, from a selling nature. That's a new market that isn't readily touched by the UFC. The proposition of bringing Rico Verhoeven in is massive for the UFC. What it could mean to bring in another known to a hardcore fight base, and he has a country behind him. One of the biggest signings for the heavyweight division in a long time, and it'll be truly interesting to see who actually is that debut matchup for Rico Verhoeven. Ridiculously excited to see what he could offer to a heavyweight division that it appears Tom Aspinall is going to have an eye surgery in January. Who knows about that recovery time? Don't know if that makes the proposition of an interim title fight for Surreal gone, and is there re-entering John Jones into the mix? You don't know which direction. Excuse me, I'm getting used to the new position of the mic and I keep smacking it. My apologies, everybody. Getting used to what direction the heavyweight division will take. We got John Jones, massive name, Surreal gone. If Tom Aspinall is sidelined with the eye injury, you need to interject more names. You have a Derek Lewis, a Waldo Cortez Acosta, who are both lovable figures. One of them is going to come out on the better of a massive knockout after a UFC 324. So that name's going to be hot. Alexander Volkov still hanging around, Sergey Pavlich. But for a general casual MMA fan, how many of those names are ridiculously attractive? How many of those are can't miss heavyweight title fighters? Rico Verhoeven, possibility to be there within a couple fights. We've already gotten an uproar, a wave of emotion, and already building fandom behind Gable Steveson just because we need more heavyweights. Because yes, he does look surefire, can't miss heavyweight champion, next level athlete. But there's also something to be said just about there's not a lot of depth in the division. You bring in a veteran, a big fight, a big game player who has a lot of experience. We're not going to have to wait long to see if Rico Verhoeven is the goods or not. And that gets me ridiculously excited to hear that he has been signed to the UFC heavyweight division. Robbie Ray images to capture your next event or special occasion. My man does beautiful work with the camera. Freezing time to make your moment last forever, getting that video so that you can rewatch that special moment. Robbie Ray Images been working with him forever. Bare Knuckle, the genre exploding. Globally, I start to see across my social media another promotion pop up here, another promotion pop up there, a couple highlights. It's very intriguing stuff. It's very intriguing stuff what bare knuckle boxing is doing. We had the transition last year from BYB to BKB. That was the merging together with the BKB traditional in the UK. The global perspective of BKB coming into view one more time as they have announced the acquisition of Bad to the Bone, one of the more prominent UK promotions. Owner Stephen Hanks will stay on and serve as the UK COO and matchmaker. Most intriguing things that BKB has done really since they signed Alberto Blas. That was a huge one, getting a free agent, former BKFC unbeaten world champion to jump ship. We know it wasn't an amicable split, but that was absolutely massive for BKB. And then from that move, they started building infrastructurally. They're adding COOs. They're adding new officers here and there. I think they're putting together the right minds. You have to have the foundation right before you can build a skyscraper, before you can truly try to compete in the world of combat sports. And I'm intrigued with all of those acquisitions, signings, with the people that they are putting in place to make the best matchups, to make the best fights, and to try to make their promotion as big as possibly can be. Now, on top of that, there is also the announcement, their first event, January 9th, exclusively on Bally's Sports Arena. It's Bally's Fight Night, Biloxi, Mississippi. Monica Medina versus Monica Franco. Martin Brown versus Bobby Taylor. Quite a few BKFC names. If you're familiar with that promotion, like Bobby Taylor, that you're going to be seeing on the card, like Monica Franco. So it's intriguing to see these names that I wondered when we were going to see them back in the squared circle in the ring, and to see them now in the trigon. More the merrier. Love the sport. Want to see the fighters be kept active and make use of the time that they have, because as we're seeing Howard Davis with the surprise retirement, you don't know how hard it is to be in this fight game. So I'm glad to see some of these fighters get to be active. Will they want to be? BKB 50 Evolution, January 31st has been announced. This one's going to be at the James L. Knight Center in Miami. And this is going to start to generate ratings. I feel like this is an appropriate and a correct measure from BKB, loading up these cards with championship bouts. Two of the first three numbered events will have 4 title fights. See, I was trying to get to that number 4 because I'm going to be enamored by it if you're still giving us 4 title fights every event out. It's something like 10 different men on the roster have title belts, 2 double champions. So that's 12 men's divisions, 5 different women's titles going around currently in BKB. So they have a plethora of champions. So they're able to load up these cards with what I'm looking at is quality competition, like this card that I'm getting to, and I'm talking a long way around it. BKB 50, Alberto Blas, it's number 1 contender versus number 2 ranked Brandon Burr. It's super featherweight title vacant, no longer after this matchup. Jamie Driver defending her women's welterweight title against the number 3 ranked Bianca Damani. You get Javon Wright, who I've had the opportunity to talk to, defending his welterweight title against the number one contender, Dan Gittins. Number one ranked Cici Yulia. And number two, Nelsie Torres are going to go for the women's vacant super flyweight title. So you're already getting 4 title fights there. Blast, an absolute beast. Wright returning to his natural weight class. Jamie Driver, the one of the biggest punchers in the 147-pound range that you're going to find for women. Absolute dynamite of a card. BKB is back February 21st overseas. It's the Indigo at the O2 in London, where the Bridger weight title is on the line. Champion Marco Martinjak defends against the former heavyweight champion Ike Villanueva. That one is going to be explosive. I wouldn't see that one getting out of the second round. And we already told you guys last week, but to reiterate it one more time, the promotion will be debuting in Mashantucket, Connecticut, Foxwoods Resort in March 28th. Harry Gigliotti, Estevan Paratia, super lightweight title. Cub Hawkins versus UFC vet Jesse Ronson. That's light heavyweight championship bout. Yeah, and Pierre Rodriguez, Ash Williams, featherweight title fight, and Alex Wilson, Julian Fernandez, super cruiserweight. As we get closer, we will have a more in-depth preview and breakdown of all that coming action, but just want to keep you, the hardcores, the fans, alert about what's going on. Getting through the first 25 minutes or so of the show, coming up at 6:30. Yoruba Morue Jr. going to be joining us a little bit after him. We will be playing the interviews that I did earlier. Nico Tapia, Johnny Tapia Jr. We're going to get into the Borke Brawl, the first boxing event, the first combat sports event in Albuquerque of the new year, keeping it local on this episode after last week, diving into the bare knuckle. And believe me, with BKFC's first event January 7th, with the BKB first event next week already. Yeah, we're going to be previewing some fights pretty quickly here. It feels like we are so far away from the return of the UFC, but don't worry. With the new year coming, that means already next week, MMA After Hours will be bringing you our 2025 year in review, yearly awards. Who wants awards from us? We're going to just kind of look back and talk about every little incremental knockout, amazing moment, huge fight that happened throughout the year, because you know the UFC produced a bunch of just absolutely massive moments. This weekend, as we're talking fights, we're going to get some opinion from Yoruba Morue Jr. because the women take the center stage. MVP promotions. Yes, the best thing that Jake Paul does, put on women's boxing. They take center stage once again this week. And we know that, again, as we talk about our local audience here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, absolutely massive card when you think about the Han versus home fight. This is, as Stephanie has put it, taking on her idol. MVP promotions, biggest promoters of women's boxing that we have. Absolutely massive card. Press conferences going on earlier today. There were open workouts. That home Han fight, your co-main event, WBA World Lightweight Championship on the line. It is 10 3-minute rounds. Amanda Serrano, Rena Tellez in the main event. You also have Australia's favorite, Ebony Bridges, back in the ring. Crystal Rosada versus Tania Walters. The women take center stage on the main card on DAZN at 6 p.m. Eastern. You got prelims live on DAZN free on the MVP YouTube starting at like noon. An absolutely massive card full of local Puerto Rican talent. It's been a long time since Holly Holm was in a world title boxing match. So you guys got to think about it's not like a George Foreman who totally went into retirement, came a preacher, went away, and came back up a bunch of weight classes. But to think about how women's boxing has progressed since Holly Holm was at her pinnacle of the sport, and to think that she has positioned herself back to a world title fight after just a side quest. It's like you're playing a video game and all of a sudden a decade long side quest to become a two sport world champion just pops out of nowhere. And Holly Holm went and conquered that in spectacular fashion. You look at an adjustment here or there, and quite possibly you put that title defense on the board against Misha Tate, and you don't know where the momentum hits from there. Stephanie Hahn, inspired by Holly as a young lady. She's an officer, a mother, a civil servant, a tremendous backstory, the biggest fight of her career. And you look at the main event, who the winner could end up matching up with. There's a lot at stake in this one. I'm going to ask Yoruba Morue Jr. about it in just a moment. As soon as he is ready, though, we are going to get the man of, I need to ask him what the official nickname is because I think we're at 5, maybe 6 by now. Easy money, though. A big year in 2025 as we finally saw him become a professional boxer. Let's bring him in right now.
Yo, 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 what it do, Mika?
What's up, little Rue? How many different nicknames are we actually going by? That was the first question.
Oh man, I've been having so many nicknames since I was a kid. Even my real name, man, I got like from my family, I got 3, 4 different nicknames. So like in boxing, outside of boxing, I just got many nicknames. But I'm the man of many.
Is there one that you prefer the most?
Um, Not really, but it's not a nickname. Why? I guess it is. Just Rue. Just call me Rue.
Just call you Rue. Well, we call you 2-0 right now. Also, how's that feel?
It feels good. Good little start so far in my young professional career. Many more to come. So can't wait.
It was off to a quick start. You get the first win. And then it seems like before I know it, I'm getting a call. Micah is taking a second fight. And I don't know if you have a story that can top Leonid Grachev, and I'm hoping you don't, but let me know if you do, because I don't know if you heard, but our big Russian friend went down there one, and actually at some point got bit by a dog too.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. We was heading to the airport and I catch him there. I was like, "Yo, why your leg bleeding?" And he's like, "Man, I was walking back and got bit by a dog." I was like, "Damn, a dog?" I was like, "Boy, you better hope you don't get rabies and nothing like that."
So we're saying that you did not have as traumatic as an adventure as he did?
Oh no, no, definitely not.
Definitely not. What did you make of the experience? Because going out of town, a Hall of Famers card, a big feel to the debut, and then you go to Mexico and it looked like you fought right back in the amateurs in a daylight gymnasium.
Oh no, it was different. We need those little fights like that because it's like it builds character and it builds everything. So kind of remind me like fight nights. You know how you sometimes you start at a club fight and then you go to somewhere random. It kind of remind me like fight nights.
What was that experience like going over the border, the travel, a new country? What was everything like? Just the experience.
I definitely liked it because I ain't never been to Mexico, so new experience being in that atmosphere, especially going to some of the gyms over there. I saw their hunger and how they were, so I was like, this is cool. I love traveling. I love definitely fighting out of state too. So that's what I do.
Did you know like what the venue was going to look like, what the event was going to look like prior to getting there? Or was it kind of all of a surprise and a learning experience each step of the way?
Oh, it was definitely a surprise for sure. They just sent a location. It was somewhere in Tijuana, but it was cool. I always love stuff like that. I love like a random surprise like that. But we got the job done. That's all that mattered.
You guys just got sent a random location. You weren't worried at all that you were just showing up to Fight Club?
Man, these hands are ready to eat for everybody. So it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. What
But
was it?
it was pretty cool though, cause when I was there, I was peeping in the corner and I saw Robert Garcia. I was like, oh shoot, Robert Garcia, and I had to go talk to him and stuff like that. And I guess he'd be bringing his fighters down there a lot and stuff like that. So it was cool also because we got to see Robert Garcia.
What do you take away most from the second professional victory?
Um, I'll definitely say that how I got better for sure. Especially now. Oh man, yo, I can't wait for y'all to see my next performance for sure. Cause we've been cooking in the lab. You know, my performance out there, I took away that I don't know, my snapping shots for sure. I feel like I'm snapping my shots way more now. That's an art. That's like a lost art in boxing. And right now, how I'm snapping my shots is so beautiful. So I definitely say that.
Snapping your shots. What do you feel has been pivotal to kind of getting that effect that you're looking for?
Definitely, with time and relaxing my arms, that makes a big factor. The relaxation. You can't be going in that ring tense or nothing like that. You want them. You want them. What I'm trying to do is having my from people I was having sit down to be like them out cold. That's all starts with snapping the shots and being relaxed and cool in that ring.
It feels like through two fights, body work has been just crucial for your success.
Oh yeah, definitely. My thing is always your average fighter could take a good shot upstairs, but most of the time, they can't handle it downstairs. And the body's key in boxing. That's how you break someone's will down. That's how you take someone's stamina, their snap off, they punch, everything. Controls the whole system.
We know it. You're lit. You're hyped. You get out of that ring 2-0, easy work. What did you think when you were getting out of that ring? What's the thought process about the performance and where you were going from there?
I don't know, really. It just all happened so quick, really. So it just caught me by surprise.
2-0, 2-0 happens in like a blink of an eye. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's so quick. It took so long for you to become a pro, and you post two victories so fast. And then you guys just like hit the emergency brake. There's like that emergency balloon that comes out, and we're waiting for the right opportunity. How did you feel when the reins are pulled back? Because I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm assuming 2-0 unscathed. You're like, where's number three?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like it caught me so quick because I'm still thinking about like, damn, I was in the amateurs not too long ago. I was over here competing at the highest level in the amateurs with the homies and stuff like that. Now I'm ready 2-0 pro, looking for my third fight. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Like everything happened so fast. Now New Year's coming. Big things for sure gonna happen, and I can't wait for that one to come.
You take a deep breath, you get back to the gym. Have you guys been hunting for a fight? Have you just been adding to the toolbox? What's been going on behind the scenes?
Sure, we're definitely trying to stay busy. So after my last fight in Mexico, we took a little break, just a little one, but we're right off the rip. We're trying to look for another fight. Some fights fell through. It happens at the young stage of the career like this. But when fights fall through and stuff like that, that means we got even more time to work on stuff in the lab. Whether that's defense, offense, snapping shots, footwork, all that. So, but ever since my last fight, we've been for sure looking trying for get another fight.
What is that process? Where's that process at right now? Did I hear there might be something going on in January?
Oh yeah, January 9th at the Cananas club. I'll be making my third appearance, third fight out here on the Giants Hopia card. Right now, we ready, man.
You can be honest. Is there an opponent, or are we still in the searching phase?
Right now, we're in another searching phase because we had an opponent set, but he fell through last minute. This is what happens when you pro early. I'm gonna give how you say, I'm gonna get a tip for all the people going pro and stuff like that. It's gonna happen a lot. Fights fall through and stuff like that. They check your pedigree, or sometimes they just pull out for unknown reasons. But we for sure got an opponent. They said so. That's all that matters. I'm ready. That's all.
I'm be like, not just the young stage of your career, but your mentor just the other day, Josh Pitbull Torres. I walk up to him at weigh-ins and his face is fuller than I've ever seen with a scale near it. And I'm like, what done happened? He's like, oh, I'm up 2 weight classes to keep my fight because of a change in opponent and an opponent having weight issues. So how much you just kind of brace yourself to get ready to take these moments in stride, because it's hard at any point of the game to know that the fights are for sure going to come through.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's part of the game. But when stuff like this happens, you just gotta adapt. Lucky for me, I have had such a high amateur pedigree. I see so many styles. The experience kicks in. So whether it's a boxer, brawler, any type like that, that's when the experience, my part of the experience kicks in, and takes me to that victorious stage.
How do you find the balance in the process of not over investing emotionally and though still taking a possible fight seriously, even though you're like, man, I've had 3 call outs, you know what I mean?
It sucks like that, but that's why in boxing, you gotta be mentally strong. A lot of people ain't mentally strong or mentally prepared for all these things. Anything can happen in the camp or outside the camp. So whether it's fighters falling out and stuff like that, you just got to be prepared at all times.
What do you think helped you forge that mental strength?
I kind of look at it like when I was in the amateurs, I knew the day before, like they drilled the bracket, or the day before I fought, I didn't know who I was gonna fight until that day or whatever. So that kind of helped me mentally prepare because like I said, in the amateurs, you didn't know who you're fighting the next day until that day of the fight. So it shouldn't be like that in the pros, but stuff happens.
Stuff can happen. This is an interesting opportunity for you. It's literally like up the road from your house. I'm sure you've had runs further than it is away from where you live.
Oh yeah, for sure. At first I thought it was Canvas. I was like, "Where's that?" And then they said, "Nah, Cananas." I was like, "Where's that too?" I ain't know what that was. And they're like, "That's up the street from you." I said, "For real?" Next, the other day, I ain't gonna lie, I went to go take a drive by, and I was like, "Oh, that's the spot I'm fighting at." I was like, "Damn, yeah, I low key run farther than that spot."
So it's right there in the neighborhood for you. And it has this VIP influencer kind of setting that's being put together for the event. How does that make you feel? Like, what does that do for you? Thinking about the opportunities, the possible eyeballs. I saw some of the guys have like 90,000 followers that are going to be on this card.
It's fire, especially being on a top tier card, a top tier promotion card, because Giant Tapia was one of my favorite fighters of all time. Especially people don't know, as a little guy, I came out that gym and stuff like that. He's actually the reason why I'm a southpaw. So being able to have my third fight there is a blessing for sure. Shout out Teresa Tapia, shout out my manager Jacob Macer helping me get onto this card. It's cool seeing her kids on there making their pro debut, started their young career and stuff like that. So it's a great opportunity for me for sure.
Did you really just do that? You like started to tell a story and like just gave us the best part and then ran away from the rest of, oh, I'm a southpaw because of Johnny Tapia. Let me continue what I was saying. Now, if you'd like to go back and have story time with Rue, we'd all really like to hear it right now, bro.
It was just simple. I started off right-handed. I'm naturally right-handed and stuff like that. That's why one of my best punches is my hook and stuff like that. My right hook. And he was like, as a young kid, he said, if you want to go farther, you want to be a world champion and stuff like that, you're going to switch southpaw. you could go farther because you know how it is. Lefties are very rare and stuff like that. So you know, after that, he told me that I stuck with it. You know, man, I was, you know what, he a legend for a reason. He's in the Hall of Fame. You know, so I took all the way up, man. So now I'm a southpaw, full southpaw.
How awkward was that at the young age when you first started boxing to immediately go goofy foot then?
Oh man, it was definitely awkward. You know, took time, but you know, I got it down to a science now for sure.
Is there anything else now that you go southpaw that you switch up that you utilize the left hand for then, or is it just boxing?
Oh, you know, I always switch it up and stuff like that. You know, like my favorite thing is, you know, be like Bruce Lee, where he said, "Be like water." You know what I mean? So you know, you're gonna see the left, you're gonna see the right, shit. You're gonna see everything. You know what I mean? So, you know, just look out. You know, that's what I'm saying. I got power in both hands, not just the right hand, definitely in the left too. So, you know what I'm saying?
How has your spot in the team evolved now? Because you're kind of available to be a voice, to be eyes, to be in the corner at the amateur events.
Oh, you know, it's cool, especially at some of my homies like Caleb and Trey that are still in the amateurs, and I be in the corner warming them up and stuff like that. And you know, I'll give them some game or some, you know, some tools that I used to use back and implement it to them. So you know, it's pretty cool.
What do you feel like is the next necessary evolution for your game for you to become the kind of boxer you're envisioning?
You know, it just all starts about having a good, busy 2026. You feel me? You know, getting lots of good sparring, lots of good work, and you know, from on there, everything's gonna show us out. Everything's gonna unravel, and I can't wait for everyone to see that soon.
Terrence Crawford, Inoue, Usyk. Am I leaving out any names that will be argued about here in a couple days for Boxer of the Year?
Oh, ooh, boxer of the year. I mean, you're gonna have to give it that Terrence. Simple as that. I don't care if anyone says you're gonna have to give it to Terrence at the end of the day. Maybe Usyk, but you know, at the end of the day, it has to go to Terrence.
Do you think that fight will be the last we saw of Terrence Crawford?
I have a little slight ability that I think he's a definitely due for one more. But you know, at the end of the day, what else could he accomplish? He pretty much did everything people say he couldn't do, and he did it. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely up there for the pound for pound greatest. You know, that man a beast.
I am already over the top excited when I saw the announcement. Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. What do you make of that fight? We're getting here, I believe, at the end of January.
Oh man, I ain't gonna lie. That's like I ain't gonna lie. That a dream matchup, a dream fight that you know I always wanted to see. You know, I feel like if you're a betting person, you have a safer bet to put on Shakur. But me, I'm a huge fan of Tio. I'm a rock with Tio because I feel like he just shows up for the bigger fights and stuff like that. But you know, Shakur is just such a defensive, sharp mastermind. You know, he's just so defensively sound. His jab, his technique, so flawless. But Tio, you know, you just can't count him out. You know, even though he has a loss on his record, that doesn't define him. You know what I mean? He always shows up for the big fights. He's just as athletic. He got power, speed, combinations, defense. You know, he got the whole package as well. So I'm definitely gonna rock with Tio on that one.
Do you think Tio can make Shakur fight? Like, he's boxed. We've seen him box. This man ain't had to be in a fight yet, though.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like if Shakur tries to come out like how he fought Zepeda, he gonna lose for sure. But you know, that was his game plan for Zepeda. But I don't know how he's gonna come out this fight. But you know, Tio better start learning how to take away from that jab or counter off that jab because you know Shakur's defensive jab that alone gonna win him the fight.
We just had seasons beatings from Legacy Boxing Promotion. I know you and your pops, you guys are always around the scene. Were you guys in attendance?
No, 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 no. You know, my sister came in town, so I was hanging out with family. You know, I haven't seen her in a minute, so I was hanging out with my family that day. So I didn't get to catch up or see anything.
Okay, so we'll skip over that one. We'll understand family's important. I hope Shariah, baby, husband, they're all doing well.
Yeah.
You're out there and you're progressing and everything that you're doing. Are you starting to take into account of how you form the brand?
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, slowly learning, getting into branding myself better and stuff like that. I definitely got to break out the phase of getting more used to being on camera and stuff like that. It all just takes time now. I'm definitely getting better and stuff like that.
January 9th. That's a quick start to the year. Getting you right back to action. It's giving you a lot of runway, and we don't want to get too far ahead, but is there a number that you guys have kind of set your sights on hoping to get in this year?
Oh yeah, definitely. Hopefully, I can get like at least 5 fights this year. I just at the end of the day, I just want to stay busy. You know what I mean? Get busy, get all the fights I can get. Um, all these fights to me is definitely every fight I want to make a statement, and not just a statement. Every fight I want to improve and show that I could do other things besides box or or go forward. I always want to show I have different levels to this stuff, and like I said, of course, I want to make a statement every fight. Especially I'm a young fighter coming up. I definitely got to separate myself from everyone and show them why I'm different at the weight class I'm at.
Does it feel like you're fighting different now from how you were in the pros? Or I mean in the amateurs, excuse me, you're a pro now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Shout out to my coach Emmanuel Naya. He's definitely like I was talking before, and my pops too. Coach Emmanuel Naya, he's been helping me with snapping my shots, and like I told you before, I feel like that's a lost art, because sometimes you'll see people go in that ring, just throw 1,000 punches and stuff like that, but in boxing they call it a sweet science for a reason. You feel me? So like you could throw them 1,000 punches, whatever, but if I snap a good two, you might be asleep the whole time. You know what I mean? Because before I feel like I was rushing my work a little bit too much. I was just touching, scoring. But it's the pros now. It's the hurt business. We ain't trying to check jaws. We trying to put them to sleep. We don't get paid for overtime. So I for sure definitely think I fight way different compared to the amateurs.
Have you felt that in intensity where for years you fought every weekend, but you kind of fought the same people, you got used to it. Now you're going in there and there's another grown adult, like you're trying to take food off my plate. Do you feel that intensity difference?
A little bit, yeah. I'll just say a little bit just for the fact that at the tournaments that you see different fighters, different skills, especially at the elite level. Like what I did before I went pro, I wanted to go to elite level. People who don't know what elite is you're 18 fighting people all the way to probably like 40 years old. And my first a couple elite fights, I fought people who were in their 30s and stuff like that. So when me going there with another grown man and stuff like that, ain't no big difference. Especially I always spar a bunch of grown men and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, they wanted more, but I always show them there's levels to this, and I just wanted just as more as they do.
This weekend, MVP Promotions, absolutely big card. We know the Southwest will be paying attention to it. What do you make of the Han versus home fight?
Oh, that's gonna be a great fight too. I ain't gonna lie, I was hoping it would have been like maybe out here or El Paso, because that would have been a big fight to be out here or El Paso. But yeah, that's good. That's gonna be a good fight. But if I can lean to someone on that fight, I'll probably edge it to Stephanie Han. I like how she fights, especially Louis Burke. I'm a big fan of him. He's a great coach. He helped me in the corner in the past, but that's a great coach to have in the corner for sure.
What do you think is that factor that gives her the edge?
Um, you know, she's been definitely been more active, and like I said, for a female, she can fight. Like she cannot just like fight, but she has skills behind it and stuff like that. I'm gonna Holly got skills too, but um, I think she just got more of like a fighter, like just bring it on, let's go. But Han got more of them skills behind it. In boxing, skills pay the bills.
What makes a great holiday in your opinion?
A great holiday.
Yeah, we're coming off Christmas,
Uh,
getting into New Year's.
definitely hanging out with fam, eating good food, chilling and stuff like that. Hanging out with the homies, but definitely good food. athletes, every combat athlete, we love food, so definitely food.
What if you have you even thought of, is there a New Year's resolution?
Um, definitely make a statement in every fight. One of my things, get more busy this year, and yeah, that's more just mostly get busy. That's one of my New Year's resolution is to get busy.
Better work.
And better work. Oh yeah, yeah. Shout out for that one. Better work. Definitely want to go out and get more top notch work, or more world champions, more, people who could show me a different level.
Okay, because I know that your dad's like right there. We need him to get in to give us his assessment of the Han home fight also.
Too late, bro.
I'm on from the background. You know what I mean? I'm from the background. I just got out of work.
Bro just popped up out nowhere, bro.
Oh, not camera ready.
I know y'all doing a podcast. I thought you guys were just like rapping on the phone talking. My bad.
We're on live, and he doesn't want to be a part of it. Like he didn't know we were on live. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know. Look, I'm gonna put my face in, say what's up. I just walked in with, was getting the grapefruit and heard y'all talking.
The holiday grapefruit.
But
what?
I'm gonna tell you from the background. So sorry, my face ain't there. Holly versus Stephanie Holland is a really great fight. It's a 50-50 fight. Holly's gonna move around. Stephanie's gonna cut the ring off. Stephanie's been more. I think she's accumulated to more of the newer style of the female boxing. Holly's still in the old age of the boxing. She's been doing the UFC, so she could definitely win. But they're fighting in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico ain't gonna like someone moving around like that. They're gonna want more action. So she's gonna have to step up in action and do something out of her element and come forward. She wants to win that fight against Stephanie.
How confident are you that we get to see Junior in action January 9th?
It got a little bit quiet. I'm gonna tell you this: we've been through so many opponents right now that I'm hoping we find somebody. We might have to find somebody off Central and get them licensed at the last minute. You know what I mean? Just to be able to get a fight going. But I think Jacob could get it done. I believe that Teresa and her team got the pull to make it happen. They put him on the flyer today, finally on there. So I believe that now that he's on the flyer, that he probably has a fight, because I don't think they'll put him on the flyer if he didn't have a fight. Because we got a lot of people that are going to buy tickets and stuff like that. And I don't want my guys buying tickets if they're not going to be able to see him fight.
Yoruba Morue Jr., we know it. We've seen it. We've seen the skills developing. We've seen the journey that you're taking, but you have to self-promote. So why are you a prospect to watch?
Definitely. I'm not just because I'm a southpaw. I'll say I'm a explosive southpaw. Most southpaws don't be getting knockouts and stuff like that. Knockouts sell. And either sport, whether you're in UFC or boxing, knockouts sell. And that's what I go for all the time. I go to make a statement. So either I'm gonna make you quit in that corner, I'm gonna stop you, or your coach is gonna throw in that towel. So when people watch me, for sure, look out for exciting puncher that's a southpaw that can hit with either hand, that is defensively sound, that got skills, that got everything, the full package. So people who's all tuning in for my young career, thank you for tuning in and keep supporting, because 2026 we definitely gonna have a big year, and we're gonna stay busy.
Yoruba Morue Jr., I gotta thank you for the time tonight, man.
Oh no, thank you.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, Micah.
There went the Morues. Yoruba Morue Jr., one of the top prospects that we have in boxing coming out of the state of New Mexico. The first two performances, absolutely devastating, building up that anticipation. It's been a couple months. I'm intrigued to see what tools he's added to the chest. Nico Tapia, Johnny Tapia Jr., both coming up in just a moment. Going to play those interviews. Both of them, their official pro debuts, also at the Borque Brawl. It's a VIP experience. Give us about 60 seconds, real quick break, and then we'll be back with those interviews. My Fight Show now welcomes in Nico Tapia, January 9th. The long awaited pro debut finally happens. We expected that to be the case back in April. Didn't get to happen. What was that like for you?
Everything's just in God's timing. I felt like I was ready. I was ready to go and put on the show April, but everything's in God's timing. So it wasn't meant to be, then it wasn't. So I'm just ready for this fight that's coming up January 9th.
Was it much of a process for you to get over what happened, how that event just kind of fell apart?
Yeah, I feel like I went down a little downhill spiral. Not too bad though. I was super locked in for like 4 months for that fight. And then I just having to find out like after the weight cut, after everything, putting your body through, it just kind of sucked. But everything's in God's timing.
How rough was the process of a camp and the letdown? Did it feel like almost a double whammy?
Yeah, no, most definitely. But I just stayed in training camp, just continue training and just continue improving.
You now had 8 months. The year didn't go as you expected, but how has that time benefited you to improve the kind of fighter you'll be when we see you first out?
I just been training. I had one amateur fight again, just because that fight didn't go through. So I was like, might as well just get another one. I had it back in, I believe, August. Yeah, I'm pretty sure August. Or when was that? July, right? Yeah, I had it in July. And then, yeah, I moved out here in Vegas. I got a new trainer, so I've just been working with him, and we've been killing it.
Your brother had mentioned that when I spoke to him also. How has the move, the relocation, being out in Vegas benefited you guys?
It's been good, really good. Just getting away from Albuquerque in general, the bad influences, just, being out here, not really knowing nobody, it just kind of locks you in and what you need to do. All we do is just go to the gym, go to training. We have our schedule set and we do it every day.
With a name like Tapia, does it feel like there was always almost a spotlight or a different kind of pressure on you out here in Albuquerque?
And I'd say so, like just in the boxing, like yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know. That's my hometown. That's where I was born and raised. I love Albuquerque. I love the mountains, the food. I miss the chili. We have our whole fridge stocked up with green chili just because how much I missed it. So you know, just miss the family.
What will it mean to you to return here and to have that pro debut in front of the family?
It means everything. I'm excited to go out there and just, cause like I'm missing valuable time with my family. I didn't get to spend Christmas with my family, so I get to be able to go out there, show off for this event, and then after hang out with family and friends and just be home for like say just the weekend and then get right back into it for February.
How has the camp, the training, the preparation now differed and adjusted with being in Vegas and having that new team under you?
A lot. It's improved a lot. They're helping with my nutrition, so I'm finally eating right. This weight cut hasn't been as much. I'm pretty much staying at weight now, so I only have 6 pounds that I have to deal with whenever I'm entering, so I don't have to. Because before I'd have to drop like 20 pounds. I'd be overweight. So right now I'm just kind of staying at fight weight. They're helping a lot. There's a lot more with recovery, good sparring out here. There's a lot of competition. It's just improving the boxing game for me a lot.
Ace the One is going to be the opponent. So this isn't the kind of debut we expected back in April. This is dipping the toe a little bit more towards the influencer side of boxing. What's your assessment of the opposition, the opponent ahead of you?
My opponent, from what I've seen, he's a pressure fighter. He throws wild. And I'm ready for it. I know he's gonna bring that pressure, and I'm preparing for that. I'm preparing for a full-on war, and my mind, my body, my mental, everything is just ready for it.
Is there a different mentality preparing for this kind of opponent versus someone that had more taken an amateur and a traditional boxing path?
Yeah, most definitely. He throws a lot wild, like a lot more wild. With the traditional fighter, it's more technical. With somebody like this, it's like they're just going in there trying to get the knockout. So they're throwing crazy. But I'm just preparing myself. I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever he throws, and he's just gonna get caught by one of my shots.
It's just your pro debut, but you've had the amateur experience. Not that you have to defend the sport, but do you feel like there's almost that necessity to show the technical aspect of boxing where you know this guy's going to be so wild and almost a street fighter mentality in there?
Yeah, I mean, he'll see. The world will see. Like it's like the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Like the influencers always think, oh, it's just a street fight. No, it's not. It's nothing like that. There's a lot that goes into boxing. There's a lot that you got to prepare for. It's a whole science. So a lot of people think it's just street fighting. No, it's nothing like that.
Does the excitement equivalate how it felt back in April? Huge names, the pit. Now it's a quieter VIP surrounding that's going to be. Do you still get that same kind of excitement because now you're making the pro debut?
Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, I was super excited to fight at the pit. Like pro debuted at the pit. Oh, that was a blessing right there. But I'm super excited. I feel a lot more calm, a lot more grounded, a lot more here. So I feel a lot more prepared too. So I'm just excited for this fight. I'm really excited.
With your name, with your dad's legacy, it's going to come up all the time in your career. Is it pressure to carry on that family lineage?
Um, yeah, it is, but it's a blessing too. Having the name, having it all, and it's just you got to put in the work to be able to carry the name and make your own name while doing it. So it's a blessing, but it's also like people come at you harder. Your sparrings are more harder. Just because you have that name. You know.
2025 obviously doesn't go as planned. 2026, you get to start the pro journey right away. What do the immediate goals look like for this first year as a pro?
I want to be consistent. I want fights back to back. I just want to stay in training. My whole mindset right now is just boxing. That's all I do. That's all I think about. So I just want to stay consistent, rack up as much fights as I can this year, and just take over the sport.
Nico Tapia, look forward to seeing you in action. And it was great getting to talk to you. January 9th, everybody.
Thank you. You too.
We got Nico Tapia out of the way. That interview conducted a little bit earlier today. The Tapia boys out in Las Vegas, currently preparing for January 9th. They've uprooted their camps, left Albuquerque. We know that a lot of fighters have done that to bring out their best. A lot of boxers have went out to Vegas for bigger opportunities. These two guys going out there looking to position themselves in a better place mentally, get rid of some of just the kind of distractions that were hampering before the busy life. Well, that was hearing from Nico Tapia, Borke Brawl, January 9th. His brother, Johnny Tapia Jr., also going to be a part of that card. My Fight Show now welcomes in Johnny Tapia Jr. Second time we're getting to talk to him, and it's kind of the same feeling. Will the pro debut happen? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I'm doing well. It's been a while since we got to talk to you.
Yes,
We
sir.
thought it was going to happen in April. So let's go back a couple months. You're preparing, things are happening with the card. How far out did it feel like to you you weren't going to be able to fight in April?
Man, I honestly, I don't even remember that whole process. Like it was just like we were amped for it. We were ready. We were training hard. We were on everything that we needed, and for it to just fall through the way it did, it kind of sucked. But I take those things as blessings. Like maybe I wasn't ready, so now like we went back to the drawing board with a few different things, and now I'm gonna come back stronger than I was then in April.
When the drama is starting to play out, can you recall, like, did your mom, did the team let you and your brother know that things were going on, or did they keep it pretty quiet so that you guys would stay focused in on the training?
Uh, my mom kept us in the loop because that's one thing my mom is very good at is being transparent. And as our mom and manager, our momager, we're always first, and so she does let us know. But she did always make sure that we did stay focused as well.
The fight doesn't happen. What kind of an emotional blow is it? And what was the process of getting over that kind of an event falling apart? We're talking about the pit, a historic venue, the
Yeah.
big press conferences. There was all those implications. And then for the air to just get let out of the room, I got to figure that was quite upsetting.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, think about it like us as fighters, like we go into these camps, we train 2, 3 months at a time, and we're spending money on camps, we're giving it our all. And, I mean, thankfully, like I was home, but, we give it our all and we do everything that we need to do for these camps just to get in there for however many rounds that we do. So it is kind of hard. Like it takes a blow mentally and spiritually as well. And but like we got to keep going. We got to keep going. And as soon as we found out like what we were gonna do, like we all sat together, me, Josh, Cody, my mom, and we all made the conscious decision as a team and as a group to step back.
What was the kind of that recovery, the getting over it process like? Did you step away from the gym for a couple weeks because you had just been putting in a hard amount of time for a camp?
No, I took like a few days. I took a few days. I definitely was eating a lot. I was definitely eating a lot, getting back to just my normal schedule, and I hopped right back in it.
Hop right back in it. So does that mean that there's been a lot of delays, a lot of kind of setbacks? You expected to be a pro during this time, and
Yes, sir.
now it's 8 more months. So what has that time been like, and how have you been able to build?
Um, I think I faced more setbacks, I think, just in life in general. This year's been kind of hard. So it was just a lot, I guess, on me and how life goes. But as far as training goes, I'm a lot stronger. I'm a lot faster. It's giving me more time mentally to prepare for what's to come for being a pro and what's to come for being Johnny Tapia Jr. So it's just helped me solidify myself even more in this sport.
Kind of sounds like, as we're building up the drama of the story around your fight getting canceled, that seems like it might have almost been a little thing in your year and not that big of a deal.
It's not that it wasn't that big of a deal. It's just like I said, like it sucked, don't get me wrong, but life, the things that happened like a little while ago, like took charge more of that. So that kind of got put on the back burner as far as everything went.
Well, I don't know how deep you want to get into the situations or not, but how much has 2025 kind of forced you to grow up?
Oh man, it's man, it's swung. This year has swung at me left and right, and I think like it's made me grow up a whole lot. Like fighting for my son, and just a lot of the things that surround relationships, and finding myself. And, I went to jail for a little bit. Like it was a lot. Like it was the beginning of 2025. I gotten out of jail, and it was a lot. And so, finding myself, finding my path, and dealing with the things that I need to as a man, and growing up, like that was kind of more important than not than fighting, but than like of the fight, so it just a lot of the steps that I have to take now, jumping through hoops, and getting to where I need to, it's been hard.
What do you feel has been a crucial element and something key to helping you with that maturity and kind of just taking that next step in life?
um I think just taking it a day at a time. I always tend to try to look at the future, and I now I just take it day by day, and I try to be better day by day, and I try to prove to myself, to my family, to my son, that I can do what I put my mind to, and I'm not the man that I was painted out to be.
January 9th, the pro debut is scheduled to happen. It's a much more intimate setting. And now it's the plug god. I never thought I'd string like those words together myself personally. That's like
Wait.
90,000 followers I saw on
Yeah,
Instagram. That's ridiculous.
yeah, Suede the plug god, yeah.
Sway the plug god. What kind of opportunity do you feel like this is with the level of experience that he has? I've seen a little bit of influencer boxing. You have
Right.
the amateur pedigree, the name. How big of an opportunity is this for you with that following he has?
I think it's a huge opportunity. I mean, like, he was supposed to fight Charleston White. I don't know if you kind of seen a little bit of the beef there, but Charleston White had pepper sprayed him, and so just a lot of that, like, whole. I think they deal with the IFL, so I think that might be Aiden Ross's thing. But it'll open up a bunch of doors. I mean, we have influencers reaching out to us left and right, wanting to get into the fight game, and I think ever since Jake Paul started it, like, everyone's just been wanting to get in. So I think it's going to be amazing, and I think it's going to open a lot of doors.
What is your biggest advantage you feel going into this fight?
My height, my length, my speed, for sure. I've seen a couple videos on Suede, and he's an influencer. He's not really a fighter, so he's a little wild in his punches, and he leans down with his head a lot, I noticed. So definitely, like I said, he's not a fighter, he's more of an influencer, so it's still new to him, very, very new to him. But I commend him because he's getting in there, and he's swinging, so I mean, that takes balls from anybody.
As a fighter, how are you more prepared now than you would have been had the debut happen back in April?
um I think around the time around April, I was still going through, like, a lot of life struggles. So that it wasn't just the fighting mentality. It was, having to get through certain things, and now I'm a lot more clear. I'm definitely a lot more focused than I was, and I'm stronger. I'm in a new environment. I'm here in Vegas. I'm training with great coaches. We have great everything out here. Everything's amazing out here.
Johnny Tapia Jr., thank you for the time, sir.
Of course, thank you.
Johnny Tapia Jr. It was a pleasure getting to talk to him. Got to talk to him for a couple minutes at the pit back when the influencer crossover series Mania 1 was all announced and never happened. Got to catch up with him a little bit more. Think there was a couple topics in that interview we could have expanded on, but I don't know if he was really ready to let it out. Also, while I'm playing with these pre-records, I'm not sure how many minutes I have before I kind of need to make a decision on, does something need to be edited? Am I passing through the allotted amount of time? Just to let you guys know if you feel like I pulled up a little short, because even there's a couple questions I think I could have maybe jumped in a little bit more. 2025 coming to an end. 2026 will begin quickly. As we said, January 9th, whether it's BKB, it's this Borke brawl. Combat sports becomes alive right away. Not to mention this weekend, Holm versus Han. Interested to see how the locals feel about that one. Yoruba Morue Jr., they were both, well, slightly split, favoring towards that Han side. If Holly pulls this one off, it's a massive fight. If Stephanie Han pulls it off, it's a massive fight. The winner most likely putting themselves in a position for the next Amanda Serrano fight. That is absolutely massive for the winner. The local scene, we have Pat Holmes. We talked about it last week. Cold War, January 31st. And please believe me, coming up in the next couple weeks, we will have some of the pugilists involved in that card back here. Empire, they have been doing big things in Las Cruces. I heard they have an event coming up soon. February 7th, Alamogordo, you get a pro-am MMA event. Thank you to Anthony Hudson for that one. Richard Jennings versus Ricky Maynez main event. That is absolute quality for a regional scene main event. Two absolute barn burners of strikers who will put on an absolute war. You get that one February 7th. We have a whole lot more news coming from the OK Casino. We hear that there's going to be MMA up in that area. We hear that Fight World, could it be Fight World 43, Fight World 44? That will be back in New Mexico on somewhere in March. Can't give you an official date. And there's also rumors that we could go back-to-back days again, Saturday with Fight World and Sunday with Anthony Pettis Fighting Championships. A lot of boxing, a lot of MMA, a lot of pro wrestling. This past weekend, if you weren't there live, you should have been. It was an absolute vibe at the El Rey Theater. It was the last light. It felt like the last light was flickering on a lot of hope for Duke City Championship Wrestling as the tyrant Matthew Robles, his master plan coming together in just villainous fashion. You even had a heel turn that no one could see coming. If you weren't there live, the Duke City Championship Wrestling YouTube page will be the place to catch up over the next couple weeks because you're going to want to be live and in attendance for the next event, February 7th. There's UFC, the first fight night of the year from the Apex. Oh, wait, it's on Paramount. You can watch that back. We get live, local, professional wrestling. This one is going to be special as the NWA World Champion and the Tag Team Champions, the Southern Gentlemen. Silas will be here. The Southern Gentlemen will be here. It is a thrill. It is the thrill of tradition. That's going to be February 7th from our friends NWA New Mexico, Duke City Championship Wrestling. Of course, it's holdmyticket.com to get your seat for what is going to be one of the best independent pro wrestling shows that Albuquerque has seen in quite some time. And that's coming what was off of a absolute barn burner at Last Light, the second year for Duke City Championship Wrestling, just producing more and more hits. So shout out to our friends there again, holdmyticket.com, so you can be a part of all of the action. We have reached out to Cody East. We got one more guy locally we think we may be able to get a hold of who's a part of Borke Brawl. We've efforted him. We're seeing if he's going to have the opportunity. Asked the 7:30 was possible. So we're going to see. If not, it might be a quick night here on My Fight Show. Last week, long week, a little bit longer of an episode. We had some extra guests. We were able to make some things happen. Tonight, we might be going just a bit shorter just because we had to get Nico and Johnny Jr. recorded earlier. The amount of pressure that comes with their name, the amount of scrutiny that comes with their name, the amount of scrutiny that has to be recognizable with Johnny Jr. mentioning it. He was in trouble. He has had his own issues he's had to deal with. Teresa Tapia, more than a known background where we're talking about events that have had problems with fighter getting paid, events that have been canceled. Borke Brawl from the Fight Queen, they're promising a VIP event, one of a kind. John McDessie versus Felipe Flip Chavez, MMA pioneer from when I first started covering around here, goes into bare knuckle. He's done some things in bare knuckle that you wouldn't believe. And we're talking about just to get the attention of BKFC. Crazy couple fights in the promotion so far here locally. And now he's going to step into the boxing ring, put on the big gloves against a UFC vet in John McDessie, who, if you guys weren't familiar with the Bull before he got to the UFC, the Canadian Frenchman or the Canadian Italian with well over 50 professional kickboxing bouts. His spinning back fists are dangerous. Thankfully, this is traditional boxing, but this is a high level, very skilled, well-educated striker. And Felipe Chavez gets that opportunity to go head to head with him. Low key, that could be the bar burner on the card. Nico, Johnny Jr., I find it very savvy. You got to look at it from the position of the promoter. You have a valued entity. You want to maximize the value of that entity. And we understand in boxing, there's that incremental building. The first fighter that a pro debuter fights is most likely gonna be the least skilled opponent they're ever gonna run into. If you're giving them that opponent, but that opponent comes with 20 to 90,000 followers on social media and someone that has an ego that thinks they could compete with somebody that really believes that they have a future as a pro pugilist, it's kind of a brilliant business strategy to attract a following. I don't know if that influencers, that streamers fan base is going to liken to the fighter that knocks out their favorite streamer / influencer, but it's definitely going to create a stir. It'll definitely create a buzz, and it'll definitely get your name more out there than the normal I'm 0-0 and I'm taking on a guy that's 2-10, 2-11 kind of debuter. So while there is a lack of appreciation that I have for this influencer boxing, I do see where it would make business sense to start to grow your entity and start to get his name more widely recognized. As we are live and we are continuing to go on with the show, real quick, going to look down, see if we do got a response or not from Mr. East. Not sure if we're going to be able to get Cody on. I know he's been wanting to do an interview. I kind of jumped in with this one a little bit of, hey, do you have the holiday season moment to jump on in here? If not, I understand. I totally understand. This is the beauty of doing the live podcast and doing it about some of the fastest growing genres of sports, because it's the whole combat sports genre. Whether you're into it or not, Power Slap is here. Dana White keeps putting on more of these events. UFC, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they look like they are committed to building more events. We're going to have TKO boxing somewhere in January on the Paramount app, so you know that that's coming. Hopefully, this is serious, that Golden Boy, that Top Rank, some of these promotions will become more readily available than just what we're doing with the Zone, that we're able to bring boxing back to TV. You see on Vice, they're doing huge things. You have the PFL MENA, PFL Under Series events, PFL South Africa, PFL MENA, all being available. Then you're also getting BKB, the opportunities for combat sports, the growing genre. I have family members sending me gifts about pillow fighting championships. You have night fighting. The world of combat sports continues to grow. It's awesome and exciting. Looking forward to what would be an absolutely huge 2026. I mean, we could start putting together what we hope to see. Who could possibly be fighting? We're talking about Crawford retiring. Who's going to be next for Inoue? Do we get another one out of Usyk? Is there something tantalizing enough? Unfortunately, I'm sure you guys have all seen the news. There were 2 deaths involved with it, and condolences to their families. Anthony Joshua in a horrendous car accident in Nigeria. How does that postpone the plans of what was going to be a Fury Joshua fight that had been long awaited to in the UK? We need to know about the mental and the physical state of Anthony Joshua. That has to be primary to him and his team before he's able to really conceive getting back into action again. Changes the game in a major way. That car accident, unfortunately, again, 2 lives taken. Anthony Joshua, bumps and bruises. He was hospitalized in Nigeria, according to media reports. So you wonder what happens to what could have been one of the biggest boxing matches of next year. I am seeing talks that could the Riyadh season campaign, could they talk Benavidez into staying down away from cruiserweight for one more fight? Could we see him get the better BF fight? It's intriguing. It'd be one of the fights to make right now, as we touched on it with Little Rue. He's in action also January 9th, Borke Brawl. Going to be a special VIP event. Canassus nightclub that is far east end of town on Central. He said, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, that's that fight. That's that fight to get excited about. Already announced, and we're getting it at the end of January. That's that fight. I got to agree with him. I wonder if Shakur's defense is going to be too much. Is he able to get into the mind, play the games, and maybe get Teofimo a bit emotional? The mental has been one of the biggest questions about Lopez. And if you're able to play that psychological warfare, it's going to be interesting to see. We've seen that Andre Ward rub off on Terrence Crawford. How will that mentorship from Crawford to Shakur now progress? And can Shakur take that mantle and run with it as a real meaningful pay-per-view player? And can he be exciting enough for the general audience to want to be invested in what he's doing? I feel like there's a lot of great questions in the boxing world. Heck, first event of the new year, home Han, so split, so intrigued. Can Holly be active enough? Interesting question that Yoruba Morue Jr. prompted us with. Something to keep an eye on. The activity as in a new generation of boxing, and Stephanie has been boxing and been consistent in the sport. I think that has an opportunity to be a very big difference maker in the fight this weekend. Holly Holm has been an underdog before. She has the experience. She has the championship mentality. And for somebody in their 40s, she probably has the most cardio of anyone in their 40s that I've ever been around. A big underdog, but always hard to really count out. Pulled off some of the biggest upsets we have ever seen. A question also for everyone watching, for the boxing heads, it's, does Amanda Serrano even hit a speed bump this weekend? Or is this business that is? Is this building up to something bigger for the co-main event? Is just this a perfect storytelling springboard to a bigger, better, really main event style, huge draw? I'm not sure, but that's kind of almost the way that I feel how this one is being built towards. The bare knuckle year in 2026, I'm expecting a huge year. It's kind of been interesting because I felt like BKFC hit a point in 2025 where we were talking about them as the second biggest brand in all of combat sports. All of combat sports. It was UFC, it was BKFC. I don't know if it was the Fighter Summit that 50% of the announcements kind of went array, didn't actually turn out to be the announcements that the promotion was going to go with. I don't know if that soured people on it. I don't know if Mike Perry not wanting anything to do with Dave Mundell. I don't know if the weird Mike Perry fighting lightweights, fighting guys down a weight class hurt it. But it felt like we almost hit a pinnacle where, with Top Rank losing their TV deal, not putting together big fights, it was there for the taking. And for a couple minutes, BKFC was number 2, right below the UFC. I don't think the bottom's fallen out, but Riyadh season, Ring, they've done a lot to put themselves into a better position on the boxing realm to again reestablish themselves in that hierarchy. The PFL has done enough, and slowly but surely, BKB pulling at stones, crawling up this mountain, adding those pieces that I love infrastructurally and a couple champions here and there, grabbing some BKFC fighters who were inactive and on fight-by-fight contracts. They've added to their roster. They've added to their regime. And it truly does make an interesting landscape. If you're going to give us an American primetime big events, quartets of title fights, that's a huge way to start drawing the audience, putting your best fighters, those foots forward, keeping those guys happy and active. I think that's going to do huge to build the company. And as we said, 17 title fights going around, 17 different titles, 12 different champions currently in BKB. It's intriguing to see the way they're growing the brand, they're growing the roster, they're adding to the matchmakers, they're adding to the opportunities for storylines to be made of competitors and putting the best against the best. BKFC, still, when you're selling out the arena that the Philadelphia 76ers play in, when you're doing that for Knuckle Mania, you can't argue that they are number 1 right now in the space of bare knuckle. It feels like, though, it could be getting more competitive. And either way, it feels like both companies have positioned themselves to, again, fight for that second and third most recognized spot. The PFL going away from the tournaments, giving us just the more marketable fights that fans are going to want. That is definitely a step in the right direction for them. But the overall is who can consistently now deliver and who can consistently give the fans what they want so that we have a definitive number 2 and number 3. You used to understood where Bellator, PFL, One Championship fell in this hierarchy. Most of them have been dissolved, and now bare knuckle is right into that MMA space in a major way. And I think that they are both poised to again grab more attention. Then again, you could tell me if it's just a fringe sport and it had its moment. That could be the fear. That is very possible. Too brutal, too bloody, that you would end up with too short of a career spans from the lacerations, from the handbrakes. But truly right now, with the promotional minds that are leading both companies, I see opportunity for them to catch up to the PFL. You have an opportunity to make that headway and get closer to a golden boy, a top rank just in the combat sports space. There's a lot of opportunity in 2026. What will the PFL do? How many people will really become invested in their brand? It's the last year for the PFL to make an influence. This is their last year with an ESPN contract. Does everything in their catalog end up moving to Vice if it falls apart? Does ESPN still want to be in the MMA realm? There are so many amazing questions. There's so much intrigue. Power Slap, UFC BJJ. Who knows what they'll come up with next? I'm super excited for a huge 2026. You want to look good because you're feeling good to start the new year? BarberGabeFades.net to book your appointment. Walk-ins are always welcome. That's 100. Let me get the address to tell you guys right. 100 Coors Boulevard, Northwest Lobo Plaza. It's Suite 107. If you're going online to book, check out the Beard Balm. Keeps it nice, tight, shiny, and everything. Find it online. Mike Adams 2.0 every Saturday. Tomorrow, cageminds.com, a new episode, Pro Wrestling After Hours, where I'll be alongside Michael Carlisle. Will be up. We will be recapping AEW World's End. I'm going to sneak in a little bit of preview for Wrestle Kingdom 20. I promise you that. The pro wrestling scene going crazy here locally. I'm excited to see the Thrill of Tradition. February 7th, the Duke City Championship Wrestling year starts at the El Rey Theater. NWA New Mexico welcomes in the NWA World Champion and the NWA Tag Team Champions. Cage Minds Combat Sports News on Facebook and YouTube. Cage Minds _CSN, Facebook, IG, TikTok, Threads, all of that good stuff. Robbie Ray images to capture your next event or special occasion. Going to be turning in a little bit early tonight. We'll be back next week. Everyone have a safe and happy new year. This has been My Fight Show. I'm Micah Frankel.